Good morning, classmates and Professor Ms. Mendez. My name is Cascante and I'm a student at Universidad Estatal a Distancia. And this is a book analysis that I will share with you based on the three different points that were asked to be done for this project number 1 related to books that we need to choose for EFL students. And basically I would like to start by saying that as is being known for the last maybe 20 years, elementary schools should be actually improving the dynamics of providing English classes in these early age stages of our elementary school students. For EFL students, it's necessary for them to have books that will enhance the language. That's why this project has been so important for me, because I am a very fond person with reading, and so I've learned so much through this. I would like to say also that in this project I will mention 5 reasons why books are good for EFL children. Also, I will share with you what I did as a checklist evaluation for the book I chosen, as well as share with you the book I chose. And finally, I will give some positive and negative aspects of the book. First of all, based on a book that I used, which is called Literacy, Helping Children Construct Meaning by J. David Cooper. He mentioned in this book that it's absolutely important to take in consideration 2 elements, which are not very easy for any L1 or L2 students to achieve, which is decoding and comprehension. And these are 2 elements that are needed in order for a child to be able to read. So based on this information, I needed to find out what is decoding and what is comprehension. According with the book, it says that decoding is the process of translating written language into verbal speech. In other words, is oral reading or inner speech, thinking the words on one's head. Decoding is necessary but not sufficient for reading. Reading, however, does not occur unless an individual comprehends. And comprehension is the process where the reader constructs meaning by interacting with the text. And with this information by Anderson and Pearson in 1984, I based my findings and I tried to use facts that will improve actually the way teachers choose books for our EFL students. 5 of the good reasons that I found in internet and through the books that we have used are: authentic literature provides a motivating, meaningful context for language learning, since children are naturally drawn to stories. And this is related to having familiar content for the children, that this content is believable for the kids, and it relates to the child's knowledge and experiences. The second fact or reason is that literature can contribute to language learning. And this is a very important reason, because it presents natural language, and this is when vocabulary and illustrations come to life. So how can we foster vocabulary development context? It's through these books that we choose, which provide us with good vocabulary and illustrations that will clarify the text. Third reason is that literature can promote understanding literacy elements. And these elements of literacy are that they will learn what is plot, what are characters, what is climax, what is a setting. And so through these books we could show the kids and teach them these literacy elements. Also, as reason number 4, I have literature can function as a change agent. Good literature deals with some aspects of human condition, and this is related to having the kids have interpersonal or intercultural ways through the books to be part of an exchange of values and social views. Finally, and most not least as important, I have that literature is a powerful vehicle for helping children understand their homes, their communities, and their world. As for the analysis, I use this sheet in which I included 6 areas to evaluate the book that I had chosen. The author for my book is Pat Brisson, and the book was illustrated by Bob Barner. The title of my book is Benny's Pennies, and this is the book, Benny's Pennies. The publisher of this book is Dell Dragonfly Books, New York in 1993, excuse me. And the summary of the book relates to Benny McBride, who starts his day with 5 pennies. 5 pennies is basically something that we could relate to the kids because it's money. And we could also use it to enhance the fact that we need money in order to approach and to purchase things. So with the help of generous neighbors, Benny buys simple gifts for his family members, including the cat and the dog. So with 5 pennies, he gets different specific presents that his family members have requested in the book. As for evaluating the book, I had the story, and my question was, is the story interesting to the children? About the characters, I had the question, do characters reflect a variety of backgrounds? For theme, I put 2 questions. Does the story offer children a variety of things to think about, to question, and to consider? Are there lessons to be learned in this story? For the setting, I put 2 questions to be evaluated. Does the story reflect a variety of settings? And are cultural settings represented realistically in this book? Also related to the illustrations to be evaluated, are characters realistically and genuinely represented in this book? Do the illustrations reinforce the story in general? And I put an extra evaluating point, which is other considerations. Will the story encourage discussions? Is the story age appropriate to ensure children can understand what is presented? And this checklist goes from 1 to 10. The highest rate is 10 and the lowest rate is 1. So, how to use this type of research with the purpose to magnetize the teaching learning process of a foreign language with primary school children. I found out that through this book, children can learn about money, and money in the ages of first and second graders, which is 6, 7, or 8 years old, is part of the curriculum. And so money can be introduced through this book. Also, there's some comprehension about what people can buy with this money. And this book also can be used for discussion on many levels. For example, counting, money, saving, spending, family, helping, friendship. And there are so many other lessons packed in this simple, short-lived children book. To maximize this resource, I will have 3 different lessons. In the first lesson, I will introduce money. In this case, the pennies, to reinforce the value of pennies prior to a purchasing activity. So on this lesson, I will include the money, talk about the money, and also have them purchase different elements that are included in the book. So on the second lesson, and they will listen to the reading for the first time. On the second lesson, I will read aloud the story, follow up with a whole group purchasing activity where each child will be given 5 pennies, and they will buy different things within in the classroom, similar as Benny did. and they knew he did by the first reading I did. And the third reading of the book will be focused on a group discussion questions about family, sharing, generosity. This last time, students will listen to the audio of the story because there is an audio for this book. So I will provide the kids with pennies, and I will provide them with different items that they can purchase, which are also included in the story. The overall rating that I gave to my book was 85 points out of 100. The story actually does include interesting topics that the kids can relate to, and they will be very interested on knowing about the book. The characters are realistic and they come from different backgrounds, so I gave it a 10. The theme is believable, and the questions that we could ask, about family and things that we can buy, is appropriate, and there are lessons to learn on how we can, through with money, buy presents and be generous and be thankful and have gratitude with others. The settings are different ones because there are 4 or 5 different settings within the book. So there are settings that reflect the fact that there are different people, different situations in places where we could purchase things. And finally, I gave a 2 in relation to cultural setting, because the book doesn't really relate to the cultural setting of our kids, because it's more like shopping in the forest, and then it goes to one other setting where there's a fisherman, and then there's a girl in a bakery, and so it goes from a forest. And in our actual world, kids don't go to the forest. They actually go to buy products in a shopping center, in a mall, or in a convenience store. The illustrations are nice, however, they're not totally 100% generally represented, and then the illustrations do reinforce the story. There, at the end, the topics can be discussed, and good topics, but I will say that the topics I gave an 8 because of can be just regular topics, and they might not be too interested for the kids to discuss. So I gave an overall 8.5. Positive and negative aspects of the book. According with my personal rating of the book checklist, the positive aspects are the following. The story provides the students with precise vocabulary. The words are not fancy or complex. There are repetitive sentences and rhyming words through the story that can give the opportunity to the students to learn structures and help them comprehend the story better. The characters in the story are familiar and they are believable. The themes offer children a variety of things to think about, and it provides them with values, for example, about exchanging money, about family, about neighbors. The illustrations do reinforce, as I said it before, from beginning to the end, the story. And related to the negative aspects, I found that this book it could be good for a public school unless the kids have had a good teacher and they have fulfilled all the vocabulary that they need to know for this book. Another negative aspect is the variety of settings, as I said, these settings do not relate directly to the really environment of shopping for our kids in our society. And so these are some of the positive and negative aspects. To conclude, I must say that I have learned so much through this task. It's been so interesting to know that it is so important to evaluate a book before we give it to our kids, because it is important to know that they really can learn so much through a good, well-chosen book by teachers that know what they're doing in their classrooms. Thank you very much. See you in class. Bye-bye.